I'm gonna roll the intro here. Here we go.
All right.
I did record part of that.
I'm so tired.
I've never heard that, but that's the origin of cap. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look.
There's a principle that
Right.
we have to follow.
Yeah.
We have to have.
Be true to yourself. You don't have.
And when I came back, the place was a mess. So I knew I was a mess.
Steve in here now.
It's incredible.
I love it. Me
That's
too.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And, and applying the recovery, I love it.
We'll look at Steve every now and then,
very
too.
severe. Yeah.
What up, everybody? Well, it's been a long time since I've been on here. This is Jesse Wysocki, Chief Operating Officer with the McShin Foundation, a.k.a. the astronaut. I think Steve or Travis maybe came up with that one. I just disagreed with the alien. I don't want to be an alien.
Good to have some
I want-
contrast.
yeah,
Everybody
to
can't
be-
be.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody can't be an
Yeah.
alien.
Gotta have regular people too.
I'm the astronaut.
And then you got hybrids.
What is normal? What is regular these days?
I know. That sounded very philosophical too. What is truth?
It's that time of year.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Well, it's me here, and then we got
Yeah, you're
Trav
joined
over
by
there.
your favorite recovery marshal, Travis, man. Here to
Martian.
Yeah.
You said Marshall.
I thought I had a marshal.
Could be like a marshal, like
Yeah,
the-
yeah. That was,
Yeah,
going
man.
getting people and taking them to the feds.
Yeah, your favorite recovery marshal, man. Coming back to y'all again, live from Recovery Central, 2300 Dumbarton Road. We're in the holiday spirit. Steve's in the holiday spirit.
big time.
Big time, man.
You are, Steve?
Yeah.
Me too. That's
Yeah,
why I got my
I know, dude. I feel like I
sweater on here.
dropped the ball here with the attire. Jesse's pulled a couple
Got some new ones.
holiday outfits out.
I just noticed that was dogs. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dude, do you remember in the 80s and maybe even the 70s, Steve? You'll probably remember this. Everybody had a picture of these dogs playing poker on their walls.
Yes,
Yeah, that
yes.
famous picture.
Those are these dogs right here.
Yeah, they came out. They
Now they're celebrating Christmas here in this picture.
yeah, I like that. They're having a couple. What is that? Gin and tonic?
I would say it's
It's nutmeg.
what are the
Eggnog,
no, it's
eggnog.
the ones that don't have what are the ones that my wife drinks all the time?
Mocktails.
Mocktails.
Oh yeah,
These are
mocktails.
mocktails. They're drinking mocktails.
Mocktail. It could
Yes.
just be apple cider. you
Apple
know,
cider. Yeah.
Holiday spirit. What is your favorite Christmas movie though? Just while we're thinking.
My favorite Christmas movie? That's a good question. I don't know, man. I really I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I like I definitely I like Elf. I like my man. He's funny.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I like Will Ferrell. He's real funny. I just like his comedy.
Yeah.
He's a trip. I like that.
I look forward to Charlie Brown's Christmas.
I watched it as a kid, but as an adult, it's not really something
It's
I would
even
get into
better.
anymore.
It's
But I do say,
Snoopy's cool.
and Home Alone was one that I liked when I was younger.
Yeah, they had the
Just like
choir
that.
singing "Oh
Yeah.
Holy Night." That's a good version of that. I like one that's recovery related too that I really enjoy is Bad Santa. I really enjoy that.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's recovery related.
Oh yeah, because he was like a flaming alcoholic, and at the end he
Is
goes
there
to jail. He changes his ways. He wants to come out and take care of the kid. Of
Course,
course,
that was good. I mean, actually, was a real funny one. You're right. I do agree. That was a
Yeah.
funny one.
I remember before we started this podcast, I was like, "Let's all turn our phones down." Jesse didn't do it. That's okay. Those were jingle bells.
It's a running.
Those are
running
jingle
theme.
bells. Those are jingle bells, man.
Christmas Vacation. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about newer ones? We're just naming all the old. Well, Elf was fairly new, but it's not. Is there any new ones over the past few years that have been good?
I like the one with Vince Vaughn.
Like the Love one?
Well, yeah, it's just a good holiday movie because they're with their families and they're meeting each other. Neither one of them wants to meet each other's
Yeah, it's like the
families,
four families,
because
yeah.
they have a fear. That's a
Weren't
true
you often
thing,
called
too, man.
Vince Vaughn? Wasn't that like
Oh
your
yeah,
little nickname?
in jail they called me Vince Vaughn, dude.
Not by looks, but
Nah,
they
just
said
by
you like
cracking
you
jokes.
wanted.
Yeah,
to
I'm way
be,
better looking.
They said
than
you
him.
wanted to be like Vince Vaughn.
No,
You don't
just
want
my-
to be Vince Vaughn.
he probably wants to be me. I'm a little bit older than him. Yeah.
Are you?
Oh yeah, we're probably same age though. But I think our humor matched up a little bit. Quick-witted, fast humor, sarcastic humor. I think that,
Yeah,
and I'm
older than
tall.
him. I don't know if
But
you're
then
older
again,
than
when you're in jail, you get compared. If you're tall, you get compared to anybody that's tall, or if you're like, whatever other descriptors.
yeah,
you
I
wanna put
often
on that.
would get a comparison. They would always say that I look like that one wrestler. which I don't.
Andre the Giant, the Junkyard Dog. China.
China. Naming all these damn wrestlers, man.
Kurt Angle. I know.
It was Kurt Angle. And
Yeah.
I never liked Kurt Angle, but anyways. What we got to talk about? Trav, what we talking about here, man? We're on here, we're talking about the holidays.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, holiday season coming in, holidays and recovery. Normally when sort of a podcast or a talk during the holiday season, and you're dealing, and your audience is people new in recovery, it's always like some warnings, and they're warranted. You want to give a warning, you want to get through.
Yeah.
But there's another side to that too, though. I mean, you're in recovery, you can actually have fun in recovery.
Was that your phone?
Oh, and then it definitely.
Oh, no. Turn my phone.
Yeah, you can actually give yourself a break and enjoy your holiday, right? I mean, you might not be mentally where you want to be. You might be estranged from your family still.
Yeah.
But if you're in a recovery community and you started doing, which is kind of like the basis of anybody that's coming fresh into recovery, like something that's top on your list of things to check off should definitely be a network, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that we're talking about the things that you should have right now. I went with Kelly. She wanted me, and this was right before Thanksgiving, because that's kind of like I guess you could say Halloween might be the kickoff of all of all of the stuff. But when right before Thanksgiving rolled around, she was like, "Will you come to where she works at and speak to the they call them clients, I think is what it is, but speak to them about how to get through the holidays." And I had to put a lot of thought to that, and I think the reason why I had to put a lot of thought to it, right, is because I'm not, it's became like just like a natural flow for me with what I do. So like when I think about who we're speaking to, especially in jail and prison, because we have a very wide audience of people that are in jail and prison. Then we have some people that aren't, that are out in the community listening to this. And you could be new. It could be our participants here listening to this. And like, how do you get through the holidays is kind of like the question that you're putting out there. And how do you mitigate the holidays? These can be actually tough times. They say that this is actually the number one it's the highest rate of suicide during this time. The holidays, which it brings me back to my last Christmas when I came, because I was just so depressed. Man, I remember, man, I was in a funk. Because those times are tough, man. And you say community, which is big in the recovery realm of things. I just think about like my just like friends and family, and that's what I've been able to kind of mitigate through. And it just became like a natural thing, like having like get-togethers, coming together. Now I still stay strong. I go to meetings. We do a sponsorship thing. We're doing one this Saturday. I think that helps through the holidays.
You're connected with it. So you kind of bring up two things that are, you bring up, because that Christmas you were talking about was right when you were making a decision to go into recovery. So you weren't quite in recovery yet. And then while you were talking, my thoughts kind of go back to my first Christmas when I came into recovery, right? And there was some thoughts that maybe I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be, but I had an advantage that I quickly gained, like a network. And then I was in a recovery community organization also, and they offered some, things that, some festivities.
Support.
And they offered a place to go, and there was a breakfast and there was a dinner, and we're offering that again this year also. And I remember just diving straight into that. Now, I had the option too to go home to my family too. But I didn't, I wasn't buying gifts, and I didn't have too much of that. And it really wasn't that big a deal, I got through it. Now, I remember before coming into recovery, like Christmases could be very difficult, so I understand those rates too. My thoughts go back to being iced into like hotels or motels, because I was just living out there and like with nothing, and waking up with nothing but a dope habit, and so I could see where suicide would be like an appealing option, and when you're in situations like that, because you feel like just the end of the world, and you see the regular world going by you.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you're like an alien. You call
Yeah.
yourself like the Martian. It's like when I was using. I remember one time my sister Katie, my sister told me, she was like, "You were like an alien on Earth, you know, and everybody else was just like regular people, and you're just like alien, and you just didn't realize like the world still was going on.
Yeah, there was
And
regular
like your own
stuff
little,
going on.
your own little world here.
Positive stuff.
And like when I think about back on that, it's just how it was, man. Like, and all it revolved around was getting high. Like, where can I get the next one? Who can I use, you know,
Yeah.
to get what I need to get the next one? And I think that's why, like, so I was thinking about this when we had that Halloween party at my house. And then like, you know, the get together for Thanksgiving. Like I just truly enjoy being able to like, it's not the show it off. People probably think that, oh, it's like, I just want to get, like, I just want to get like,
Yeah.
like be with people I
And
love
have
and
people
care.
around
Yeah.
you,
And just get like, hey
yeah.
man, this is cool. Like, you know, cause we didn't have that. Like, you know, especially us, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I was explaining that to Kelly. I was like, I didn't,
Oh, we
you know,
weren't
this wasn't-
hosting any parties.
yeah, we didn't have this stuff.
There was no party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And even like, you know, I think about like growing up, like, and this is not a knock to my parents, but like, you know, they divorced at a young age, and my mom, like, there was no traditions in my house.
Right.
Well, no like family traditions. We didn't have anything, you know. I remember one couple years, like the church had to buy the Christmas presents for her.
Yeah.
So like everything that I have is just, I just want to be like, you know, let's enjoy it, you know, let's enjoy it together, kind of thing.
It makes that like a little more special. Because and we're looking at this at a different vantage point. Like I enjoy the holidays coming up now. Like it is just such a different thing to be able to give, like you're talking about, or to even be able to buy a Christmas present. You know, holidays to me, man. I wonder if I can get a gift. If somebody will leave a gift card laying around, I can snatch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and where can I go sell it at? Or I used to think like, you know, when I was younger, there was always like a distant relative that would send money in the mail. You know, like that one uncle, one uncle that would like send money when you were a young kid, or the
Watching the
grandma.
mailbox.
And I would be waiting and never would get it anymore. Like, damn, man, I used to get like a little bit from grandma, would send me something or something.
Yeah.
You've already spent it before you got it.
Yeah, it just never came. I remember one time, right? Did Pat pass away? Remember Uncle Pat?
Yeah, Uncle Pat passed away.
I remember like going to the trailer park, right, with him, and he would like wait sporadically, periodically, monthly by the mailbox for the disability check that he was getting, or the unemployment, whatever it was, and he would wait. He would know. He'd be like, "It's coming," and the mail lady knew him by name.
Yeah,
and like he didn't have to wait to go open the thing. She would like deliver it to him.
He was waiting by the box for that.
That
little gift
to get the check for the month, and I'd be like, "Damn, man!" Looking back on that, it's like, "Damn," like, and all that went to dope. The healing place, right? You know, so like I came, like I got clean January 10th, 2012. Right. And I came to the healing place like a few days before that. I had some boxing on me. And so then my, you know, clean day was January 10th.
Yeah.
But that whole year I spent, you know, Christmas, I was still in I think right after Christmas is when I moved out. You know, I had been there a year. And so I was in treatment in a community, what you were talking
that's what
about.
I'm saying. And
like
you had some
had that advantage, and you had that advantage of the community, any festivities that they had, any meals they provide, anything they did, you could go there, right? You know, and so you were able to stay connected in that community. But that built the foundation for me to realize that during those times, like I got to stay connected.
Yeah.
Right. And so my pathway is 12-step. So like I stay connected, and like God has a funny way, you know, I mean, I believe in God. Those that don't, you know, not to offend anybody, but you know, I do. And like God he just has a unique way. It's a funny way, but it's a unique way of working for me with me. And so like when I distance, or when I start to like, you know, maybe it looks to me, it might seem like I'm pulling away from my foundation, which is 12-step, he'll reel me back in with something. Right.
Yeah.
So like an example is, you know, I got asked to speak at somebody's anniversary. And And so I spoke the one we spoke at, right?
Yeah.
And then I got asked to speak at a home group holiday celebration, right? And then I got asked to speak at another anniversary,
Yeah.
and so like he's just reeling me back. He's like, "Oh, you can't go nowhere, Jess. You might
still got work to do."
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, right. and you're not healed, and so it's like I love it, and that to me is like my foundation, the community, going to meetings, working with a sponsor, doing step work, that's just my pathway. So like I've learned to not be embarrassed about that, right? Because, and what I mean by that is like in the world that we work in, the government, the SAMHSA, AHA, like they have this, verbiage that you have to use. You can't push pathways on the people. It's got to be open to everybody.
Yeah.
And I love that concept, right? But with that, some people will shy away from, saying what their pathway is, right?
Yeah.
And that will actually be detrimental to the newcomer or the person, because they need to know what works
for you.
Yeah. And so they can see if it works for them, and I'm not going to force anybody, but that's what works for me, getting back to my roots during this time. I get excited. And I celebrate in January. So, January 10th, I have my anniversary.
Yeah.
So I get excited during this time of year.
Festive year.
Yeah. But I go back to the roots. I make sure I'm hitting meetings, make sure I'm talking to my sponsor. We do an annual holiday party. Usually I host it at the house. We do a gift exchange. You're coming this year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Even though you keep saying
we don't have to get into the reasons why I want to come.
Well, you're gonna be there.
I mean, I'm gonna fight through the I'm gonna fight the battle and come on in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but
I've been to them every year for 3 years now.
You were at the last year, all of them.
One before that, I've been to all of them. I do want to go. I mean,
and they're cool. Well, they're what help keeps me grounded and keep me connected. And when I was at this holiday party sharing, like one of the things that had like hit me, Trav, was like, I get to go into this meeting, because we work in an environment, like when I'm talking about, the verbiage that we have to use, the things that we have to say, we have to be mindful that we don't step on people's toes or say the wrong thing, right? You have to be cognizant of that, right? It doesn't mean that you have to walk on eggshells. You just have to be cognizant of that.
Avoid landmines.
Yeah, you just have to. Well, you just got to be. It's really just got to be spiritual. And that's what it boils down to. But I want to stay true to who I am. But when we work in these environments, though, sometimes it just naturally puts us on a pedestal, just to people looking at us and to ourselves, right? We get in ego feeling positions, whether it's behind the desk running a podcast like Steve does, producing things, whether it's going in the jail teaching others how to get in recovery, managing staff, team, whatever. It's naturally ego producing. So, when I was at this meeting sharing, one of the wonderful, beautiful things that I loved about it is I get to go in there, right? Here's the hit. Like I get to go in there and just be like, man, my name's Jesse and I'm an addict.
Yeah. Even
right.
Field.
Yeah. And
we're
like
all blades of grass.
Yeah. I'm no different than y'all sitting in here. I'm that dope fiend that stuck a needle in his arm, that drank E&J, that, chased crack on the floor, like I, no different, right? But when we're here, sometimes it it elevates us, which is not a bad thing, but like a lot of us will forget about that, and it's just not our recovery, like I still got to do something for me.
100%.
And that's what I've learned during the holidays. It makes me do it more. So like outside of the holidays, I still do it, but like I grasp it more during this time, right? So that helps me. So the newcomer that's listening to this, and you're trying to get through it, step the game up, go to some more meetings, whatever it is you're choosing to do. If it's church, if it's 12-step, if it's smart recovery, go to more of it,
Just get connected,
try to do an extra meeting, try to call an extra person in recovery. It helps during this time.
I can say this, if you're in early recovery and you're trying to make it through the holidays, that's a perfect suggestion right there. You're going to have to get connected in recovery. Well, yeah, I guess you don't have to, but that high success rate is probably people that are got a good network and connected. And so the first year could be difficult if you're very early on, but I can tell you the next year is going to be better, and then the next year is going to be better. I can also say that if you're in early recovery, that spiritual principle of gratefulness will come through for you every time, not just the holiday years, but everywhere, man. You just be very grateful that you're not out there using, man. That's one thing I can always fall back on, man. This Christmas, I do not have to get up and wait for Walmart to not need a receipt to take returns, man. I can actually, so you make it through one. It's one day at a time in recovery, of course. You make it through this one. The next one's going to get better. A holiday is definitely nothing to use behind, if just get through it,
you put one foot in front of the other, and you slowly get through it. But I've always learned, like during hard times, during easy times, during times of excitement, right? Because in recovery, you will get things, so and sometimes we want to celebrate, and we'll celebrate with getting high, right? So during all these times, what I've learned to always do is just go back to the basics, and so what are my basics? I have to make sure that I don't shy away from those. And that's what I was meaning. Like, God has just a way of reeling me back into it. That's why I'm so grateful that I have a relationship, with God, and I'm able to, like, continue to,
stay humble.
With that, and continue, like when you're watering a flower, continue to, what is that called? Like,
gardening.
Prune it, garden. I continue to do that with my relationship with God. I continue to, water it, feed participate in it, whatever it's called. There's some word that describes all that, but I continue to do that. And that's important. Search, seek. I have to do that, right? Because like it will slip away, right? And what I mean it'll slip away is, how, like, so all of us in here have over a couple years, right? I think 4, what do you got? 4, 5, 3, right? And so like we've, I was John Shinnels are always, when I started working here, he was, still in the process of retiring. And I had, I think, 6 years in recovery, right? And he was, oh man, you're still a newcomer till you got 10 years. So I just want y'all both to know y'all are still newcomers.
Yeah,
well, I know.
I've accepted it.
And to John, like everybody on earth
is a newcomer, right?
Newcomer.
But
and you know what? I like to keep myself, because of course you're going to learn stuff. If you're not, then I mean, recovery is like learning, self growth, connection with your higher power, wellness. It's all those things. And I was thinking about that as far as time is relative too, because if I hear somebody with like 20 or 30, 12, like I say, oh no, as far as their eyes are concerned, relatively speaking, I am a newcomer. But if somebody with 1 day or 1 week, sometimes 3 to 4 to 5 years can sound like an eternity. You know?
Well, but here's the hit with that. This is what I've learned, right? I have clean January 10th, 2012. So I got coming up on 14 years clean. I can't get any cleaner.
At all.
I can't get no cleaner.
You're not going to get no more sober, no more cleaner.
But what I can do, and this is the difference between, you catch some people that got 30, 40 years, 20, whatever it is, right? And they're not practicing, they're not growing recovery wise, right? So
there's a big difference.
They might have that long clean day, but what are we doing recovery wise? There's definitely a big difference. So you got to continue to work on you, continue to grow spiritually, to grow within yourself, right? So when I see this, and I'm a judgy person. I just, I mean, it's just
human nature.
It's like
what it is.
And it was taught in me at a young age, man. I've always was sizing people up, right? And I'm, as I'm older, I still do it. Like, hey man, can I beat that dude up? Am I Am I smarter than him? You know,
Yeah.
you know
You didn't look at me and say that.
I'm not beat you up.
You're
Yeah,
not
no.
smarter.
I'm saying, I mean,
I've
I
been
give
going
you
to
that.
the
You're a little
gym,
bit.
too.
You're a little bit smarter than me.
No ego. You're
I give you
very
that
intelligent.
point. I get you, but like that's what hurts you though, because you are so intelligent. Your smarts hurt you. You know,
They help me too.
yeah, they do. When you do it in a nice, when you use it in a healthy way, just like
I'm an anti-hero.
the
sometimes.
attributes that we have. Well, you mean the attributes that we have can definitely, if we overuse them or use them in a negative way, they can hurt us,
Oh,
right?
definitely,
You know,
100%.
yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like you have to learn, and that's where the humility and the humbleness comes in. You have to learn how to use your attributes in a humble and in a humility way, you know, in a humble way. But like I can't, you know, like I was saying, I can't get any cleaner, right? But I can continue to recover. I can continue to grow, and I love that about Walt, my sponsor, right? Because we talk about that. Like he's always seeking to do step work with his sponsor.
Yeah.
I'm always seeking to do step work. And then the reason why is because it just helps. Like it just helps identify stuff. It helps grow. Like, you know, and that's why I like that piece.
There is nothing more exciting because you can tell when you're going through a growth period too, or you're learning something and then you apply something and then you're changing, right? With the 12 steps and just little stuff that I've picked up and the minimal work I've done, every time it happens, I'm like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
You would think that it would ignite a thirst to go for it. And it does. It'll pull you back in, like what you were talking about, because there is a lot of revelation in the 12 steps as self-revelation, right? It's definitely underutilized tool in my life, but the bit that I've got from it, I was like, oh man, you know, especially when you start implementing and applying it, spiritual principles, you'll never go wrong practicing those. I love that too. My higher power too. Because I always am doing groups on spiritual principles, and I'm thinking about spiritual principles, and I love to talk about spiritual principles. And so when I get out of whack with a spiritual principle, then my higher power has a way of like, I don't get away with too much anymore. Not even like the simplified
grace
lies.
period's over.
Yeah, it's over, bro.
Well, you know, and like, but your awareness is just so much more highlighted now that you're not fogged with substances.
Yeah.
Not just substances, you're not fogged with a lot of negative stuff, right? You're not participating in a lot of negative behaviors. Now we still fall short, and there's still little things that you might do here and there, you know, all of us. But you know, and that's what I learned in step work, man. That's what they talk about in the 4th step, right? So like there's things that block us from that spiritual thing we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And we have to slowly remove those things, right? Whether it's gambling, money, sex, whatever it is, you know, lying, stealing, those things are the defects that block us. So, you know, you got to remove those things, and you know, and the more we remove them, the more awareness that happens,
and the more aware that we're doing it, the more we can
spirit, right? You know, you shared not too long ago about the whole avocado situation, right? That's an awakening of the spirit, you know, and it's like back in the day,
that would have been nothing. I mean? I would have had the avocado,
a petty
and
$2 avocado, right? You know, but I was joking with you. I remember when I was joking with you in the gym, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, you know, you're not, you haven't been clean enough to do those things, right?
Like integrity. We were talking about integrity.
Like turning it, like, look, if you got a little bit more clean time, then you can show some unintegrity. You can do a little bit negative stuff.
You can let a couple things go.
You can go home with the avocado and not worry about it,
and
right?
You'll be safe.
But like early on, you can't do stuff like that, man. And that's bad. But like, you know, I'm laughing because like I look at it and it's like I get it though. Like when you're early in recovery, I was talking to a friend of mine in recovery the other day. We were doing some step work, and I was telling him about, you know, that like you know, those things, they're just domino effects, right? So, you know, and they call them reservations. Like, you know, if you continue to do things that, you know, you don't want other people to know, if you continue to be dishonest, you know, and a prime example of what we were talking about was like driving without a license. Right. And so I share this, right? Because anybody incarcerated right now. So like, you know, if you continue to get on the phone, used to be my little thing. I get on the phone. And I'd call one girl and I'd be like, "Oh, baby, I love you, man. You my girl. and that by the end of the conversation, hey, can you bring me $50 up
Yeah,
here?
that's how
Right,
the conversations in jail
yeah.
always got to end.
And
Need
then
those
and then
pink slips.
yeah, and then after her, right, I'd call mom up,
Yeah.
and then after mom, I'd call the other girl up, baby mama or whatever, and I'd have 3 or 4 different people I'm trying to hit off with.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you want to practice principles in jail, if like you want to start practicing principles, because the people that come home from jail talking about, I've been clean. So were you practicing principles? Right. A principle there would be to stop that.
Yeah.
Right. That's the reservations that you might have in your program. You continue to lie. I'm not saying, be in jail and, let somebody punk you. Right. But I'm saying you can be in jail and practice some principles. Right.
Yeah.
Don't run game on Mom Dukes. Don't have your baby mama bringing you to pack. Those are the things that you got to practice. Right. While
Yeah.
you're incarcerated, try to shy away from the poker table. Right. If it's going to cause stress, or cause not stress, but extra
if it's gonna
complications.
if it's gonna evoke you to anger
Yeah.
or getting yourself in debt or and then having to scam and do all that, if it's putting you in that position. This is very interesting that you brought this up, and what you did say before will kind of come on home here now, because there is a difference between sober or clean and recovery, right? And how are we practicing this in jail? And it's kind of strange. I was in a jail a couple weeks ago holding a group, and a young lady asked me, and I said almost the exact same thing you said about being sober and recovering and the difference in it, because she asked me if if the clean time since she's been incarcerated counts, because she didn't think it should count because the rubber hadn't met the road yet. And that's exactly what I said too. Oh, well, there's a difference between just your clean time and recovering. Are you recovering in here? You're already doing some things. You're coming to class. You're learning. You're trying some new things. You're not doing what everybody else is doing, right? You were willing to come in and try something new, So I think that it does count if you're doing those things. If you're not getting on if you're starting to start practicing the spiritual principles, if you even became aware of this information somehow in jail or prison, or if they offer something like this, have you decided to start practicing willingness and try this, go against the grain,
Yeah, it definitely counts. Right. But do you want to continue to count when you get out? Right. Because if it counts, right, when you get out, it's got to make a difference. A lot of the individuals I know, as soon as they get out, it's not long, they pick back up, right? Because they weren't applying any principles while they were in jail. They just weren't using. Which because using drugs in jail, using drugs in prison, there's some problems that come with that. And
just like out here,
people can make the decision, I don't want to deal with those problems, it's too much, right? And they don't use, but are they practicing any principles?
Right.
And that's the stuff that you can start to do and grow in. So if you're listening, in prison, jail, if you're listening to us, man, we're telling you, man, look, practice, practicing principles. Don't be a doormat. We ain't saying don't let nobody run no game on you, right? But practice some principles in prison.
You can practice honesty. You can practice willingness. You can practice open-mindedness. You can practice integrity. 100%. It's not saying actually when you come into recovery and you start practicing these things, you're not a doormat for anybody out here either, right? That's not what this is. But you want to come out with the foundation. If we are talking to the people that are incarcerated right now, and that just brought something to mind too. There's a saying in Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that. Just like one of those sayings. I'm going to enjoy this Christmas. If anybody's out there in early recovery, enjoy yourself. Use the spiritual principle of gratefulness. You're not out there anymore, man. You have a lot to be grateful for. You're above ground. You're living to fight another day. Eventually, this thing is going to click. I promise you. You get through these holidays, the next one will be better. I can almost give that a guarantee if you're truly working some recovery and doing what you got to do. I've through my recovery journey, I've learned that things just get better, man. Things come to you. It's what a blessing it is these days to not have to chase anymore. Things come to you, man.
Yeah,
it's a weird dynamic.
If you want to chase anything, just chase your recovery.
Yeah, chase your recovery, man. And so all these things will be added to you, man. It's a beautiful thing. So enjoy if you're in a recovery community, use your network. If you're still out there on the fence about coming into recovery, and you're hearing this, there's only a few examples that I can think of where the grass is greener on the other side, but compared to the hotel that I was in, freezing and looking for my next one in my per Jesse small apartment now, I can definitely say that the grass is greener on this other side, man. It was the best decision that I ever made. I'm thankful to my higher power for opening my eyes long enough to pull me out of that. What a blessing that was. Also, I'm very grateful this year, Christmas and Thanksgiving. I spent Thanksgiving over at Jesse's. It was fun to be around people in early recovery and people in older recovery. Yeah, I couldn't get my pops to come inside, but he did get a plate. Grateful that I can show up today and be a part of like this kind of stuff. It's a beautiful thing. It's such a different life. Sometimes I have to pause for the calls to reflect on just how far I've come, because you're just living it every day. You don't even sometimes realize that you've made a daggone 180. You're going a whole different direction.
You look back and see how far.
Turn your life around. Yeah, you know, it was funny when we were getting ready to close. My first apartment when I got clean was smaller than the one you had, and I had Cam and Cadence living in there.
Yeah,
did you ever go to that apartment, the studio there?
I see, and I didn't judge you then, and I was in a house then, and I never judged you. No, and I.
Bro, hold on, man, hold on. I'm not judging you.
And you know what else? I didn't.
Now you sound like I'm not.
I didn't.
It's just me and you. Now I'm judging you.
I wasn't even a vegetarian. I wasn't even a vegetarian at all. Saying, and I came.
How long have you been in your apartment now?
Partake.
How long have you been in your apartment?
This is my second year.
All right. All I'm saying is it's probably time. You're married now.
I'm trying to say grow up.
Yeah. I mean, somewhat. I mean, you know, you are making you're slowly working your way up. Y'all got a combined income. You know,
I like that a lot. You can. That's an advantage of marriage.
I'm pretty sure. Does she want to stay there?
No, we're gonna move. We're gonna move. As a matter of fact, we're gonna move out of the city. We're gonna move probably. You know what? I am starting to crave. For one, I don't know if anybody lives in these urban areas, but you know, you don't have your own parking space, so it can get. Sometimes you're like, man, do I want to leave at all? Is it worth leaving to lose my parking spot? Right? Have you ever had that problem?
Yes.
And when you pull out of the apartment,
so it's like somebody's just waiting there, you know, and don't have some bags of groceries you got to carry.
If it's going to snow, they'll fight over it.
Yeah, and you know, luckily I'm working some spiritual principles for real, because I'll just drive by and I'll see like cars that are never back there before, and now they're back there, and I'll just be thinking, I'll pop your damn.
You had my first 6 years. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have a car. I lived in that studio apartment without a.
You didn't have these problems that I had.
Car, parking spot, and I had to take 2 kids on a city. But you know what? We better stop before I get on this rant, man. City bus, 2 damn kids. All right, everybody out there. Before we end this, I did want to tell y'all, if you're listening, we do have. Travis talked about it earlier. We do have a Christmas Day festivities. Come check us out. It's open to the public. We're doing breakfast. I think we said
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock breakfast, and then we'll have a dinner around 2 p.m. And it'll be a fun day. So it's open to the public. You can come in, play games with the participants, hang out.
It's a really good breakfast movies. Too. Last few years, it's been.
Come check it out. Open to the public. And if you get out of jail or prison before then, come check us out. Come get into the community. We're glad that you tuned in and took some time to listen to us. And I think that's it.
Yep. Peace.
All right, y'all.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.